Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be with you here today to open this important conference organized by Finance Malta in its 5th anniversary, I must say, and I would like to congratulate them for the work they have been doing in the past 5 years. 5 years ago, possibly almost to the day, myself together with other 4 members from the private sector representing the various organizations in Malta and the financial sector had signed a deed that brought about precisely this organization. Indeed, 5 years on, this organization has become much more than just a deed, but clearly the work it has done to continue fostering and supporting this growing and important sector in our economy are indeed commendable. You know as well as I do that the financial services in Malta have come a long way. There are today more than 400 funds based in Malta, with a net asset value of close to 8.5 billion euros. Fund management has grown rapidly, as well as other fund services. Malta continues to grow also in the aspects of insurance, both captive and general insurance, with 25 banks today registered in Malta and one providing also services under the freedom of establishment rules, which offer a broad and wide variety of competitive and far-reaching range of services both to the domestic market but also to international clients. The segments of the industry that are regulated are not regulated are also growing fast. People involved in corporate services, sole practitioners to large internationally connected firms, all report that they are constantly visiting, registering new companies, providing also registered offices and a myriad of other services. In the past 4 years alone, we have registered over 9,500 new companies, 58% of which coming from foreign investors. I am not here today, however, to provide a survey on the industry. I'm sure there will be some indications that will be given during the course of the events today. But all indications clearly show that the financial service sector is indeed a growing sector and also a sector which is importantly contributing to our economy in a very effective way. Financial services has provided increased share both in gross domestic product, but also in the number of jobs it created and also the quality of these jobs. This growth over the past 4 years has taken against the backdrop of clearly an intense financial turmoil that has continued to grip Europe and also bringing some countries into a second recession in the present months. Across Europe, unemployment has risen to unsustainable levels. Growth in some countries seems to have disappeared, while many countries have gone through severe austerity measures to bring their public finances into a stabilizing position, but meaning also the deepening of a crisis even within people's quality of life. We must assert that we have managed to pass the worst, and we have done so through a combination of factors, keeping touch on ensuring that unemployment levels remain low, ensuring that we remain competitive and attractive to those who want to invest in Malta. We have delivered growth where most of our counterparts in Europe have seen a recession. And our country, with an economy that is one of the most open in the European Union, has so far managed to steer away clear from the debt crisis affecting our neighbours. We have managed this through a combination of factors, as the IMF report on Malta published last week clearly amplifies. The prudent macroeconomic policies we have adopted have served us well, delivered a fast return to growth from the end of the recession in 2010. We can be proud of this achievement, but also of the efforts we have done together to ensure that we have sustained this growth in a managed way. As the International Monetary Fund actually pointed out, greater economic output than before the recession has been managed to achieve by Malta, and this while keeping inflation under control. On our fiscal position, the report also praised Malta and called its effort impressive. Our general government deficit has shrunk below the 3% of GDP, and the report goes on to say that it should drop even further next year and the year after. Also, it must be emphasized, for the first time in 5 years, Malta has also managed to attain a primary surplus. Beyond the praise and the vote of confidence which the respected and independent institutions have given to Malta, the Maltese people, the investors in our country, and also those of you providing such services have done so in an environment which is stable, certain, and an environment which can induce more prosperous growth. On this ground, foreign investors seem to agree with us that we are continually seeing a good flow of foreign direct investments and new companies setting up shore in Malta. Of course, this is not due to the government efforts alone. It is also due to the strong efforts you have been putting in this industry, particularly in the financial services sector, to ensure that we can continue sustaining this recovery. As financial services providers in Malta, we have maintained and improved our competitivity, ensured we maintain our reputation, but also delivering real value for money. This strong performance so far does not mean that we can rest on our laurels. The dangers remain. Our fellow Europeans, especially those in the Eurozone, continue to face massive problems. The Eurozone is expected to go even through another, though albeit shorter, recession. Clearly, Malta, as an open economy, cannot ignore these realities, and we need to ensure that we are able to manage the external shocks that can affect us. And therefore, we need to protect our own recovery, and to do well, we need to protect also our financial stability. Among other things, this means that on the domestic front, we need to seek to continue balancing the constraints of fiscal consolidation with the need to continue ensuring faster growth. We are not obviously alone in this. We believe that Europe as a whole needs to do a bigger effort to continue realizing these policies to ensure that we can promote growth and jobs in the medium term. On a European stage, Malta has also pulled its weight. We have contributed to the European Stability Fund, and we have pledged funds also to the Greek bailout. The European Union is doing a lot to seek to prevent the turmoil from spreading around the world, and we need to continue working together to ensure that we bring about the necessary economic and financial stability. This includes a reorganization of the regulatory structure within the financial services sector across Europe, a range of new regulations and directives, all aimed at ensuring stability and protecting the interest of investors, and including also tighter capital requirements for banks and regulation of credit rating agencies, which were precisely the latest discussions and conclusions done in ECOFIN this week. These are all part of our global effort to reverse, improve, strengthen regulation and establish the badly damaged trust in the sector and build again confidence. We in Malta are compared to the rest of Europe, and I must say we are indeed in an unfortunate position, as our banks and our institution have continued to be able to show that they are able to perform strongly, both in terms of their loans and deposits, which has allowed them to outperform most banks around the rest of Europe, providing them with the resilience needed to survive the credit crunch that affected Europe. The aims of the reforms that are being undertaken are indeed very important. It doesn't mean that we support all the measures that are being discussed. I've seen in your topics, one of them will be the financial transaction tax, in which the Maltese government has been very clear in its position that would not be willing to consider such tax unless this is indeed a global tax. In the same vein, Malta has expressed its concern and opposition to the proposed common consolidated corporate tax base. Clearly for us, the proposal on the table is not an efficient tax, but simply a tax that tries to shift revenues among member states on factors which we do not consider to be really within economic rationale. We believe that companies in Europe need tax-efficient structures to ensure that they remain within the European Union. If we do not do so, the only thing we're telling these companies is to move out of Europe. All in all, Malta and its financial services sector are doing well. Despite the crisis all round, we continue to adopt prudent policies to ensure that our sound finances are there to sustain stability and growth. We plan to continue working on our achieving and to ensure that we continue to respond in a competitive manner internationally to keep Malta attractive on all fronts. It is for this reason that today I would like to also announce my intention to set up specifically a think tank, particularly with the participation of yourselves in the private sector. To be tasked with creating new ideas for this sector, we need to be ahead of the curve within the industry we operate, and therefore we need to come with innovative ideas to ensure that Malta remains a valuable proposition, not just today, but also in the future. We need to review our fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, our policies and regulations, also our education requirements to ensure that we continue to meet the demands of this growing industry in an effective manner. I would like to conclude by thanking you all for being here, for those who are within our jurisdiction for the trust and the work they are doing, and those who are guests with us. We invite you to consider Malta also as a place where you can do business. Thank you.